Forspoken is a new open-world magic-focused action RPG releasing on the PlayStation 5 and PC. In this video, I'll be giving you an overview of Forspoken after finishing all of the story and side quests, and after spending over 40 hours completing all of the challenges and objectives in the open world. So hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a better idea of what the game is like, and you'll also know what you should be aware of before playing. Square Enix offered to sponsor today's video so that I could specifically show you gameplay from the PlayStation 5 version of the game. So all of the footage shown in this video is taken from the PlayStation 5 version running in performance mode with motion blur disabled. So click the link in the description to find out more. In Forspoken, you play as Frey Holland, a young woman who due to her circumstances seems to often get on the wrong side of the law. After an altercation with gang members, Frey finds herself on the run, and eventually she stumbles upon a sentient bracelet, and upon touching it, Frey is thrown into Athia, a world of dragons and magic that has been ravaged by the break, a corrupting miasma that blankets most of the world. All life that comes into contact with the break is corrupted. If they don't die from the corruption, it will consume their minds, and eventually turn them into monsters once it spreads throughout their bodies. Frey is completely unaffected by the break, and with the help of the talking bracelet that she names Cuff, she eventually finds Sipal, the last remaining city in Athia. This city is where the majority of the story-related events begin, and it's also where you receive quests from its various inhabitants. The quests, or detours as they refer to in-game, are pretty basic and don't really offer much insight into the world or its characters. The main story will give you a better understanding of the current state of the world from Frey's perspective, but the majority of Athia's lore and the story will be contained within books and documents scattered throughout the world. While playing through the story, I did want to learn more about Frey and her circumstances, but the pacing of the story and this sarcastic banter or silly humor during moments that should have been pretty serious managed to pull me right out of the experience. And it felt like the majority of the interactions relied too heavily on the sarcastic banter between Frey and Cuff. This banter can also happen while out in the open world. It's not much of a problem when you hear it for the first time, but eventually the same lines of dialogue will start repeating. Thankfully, it's possible to limit the non-story focused banter in the options, so you can limit the conversations to ones that are only story and quest related while in the open world. The world of Athia is fairly large, and the majority of the time spent playing the game will take place within the open world areas. Thankfully, one of the strongest points of Forspoken, and one of the smoothest movement systems I've used in a game, is the magical parkour system that you can use while traveling around the world. The parkour abilities that you have at the start will be limited, and you'll only be able to quickly climb walls and jump over obstacles, but eventually you obtain more spells that will let you sprint and leap through the world at rapid speeds, tether to walls to reach new locations, glide in mid-air, or even surf on water. I personally like open worlds that encourage exploration and discovery, but that's not the type of open world that Forspoken has. All the objectives that you need to do are clearly marked on the map, and they don't really require much effort to complete, so there was nothing that really sparked my curiosity, which led to an open world that felt pretty dated by today's standards. Even though all of the open world objectives will be easily viewable from the map, the main challenge will be figuring out how to reach them. For the most part, they're out in the open and are easy to get to, but there are some situations that are a bit extreme, like having to climb to a specific location while an unlimited amount of enemies spawn around you on small ledges while your vision is obscured by a breakstorm. Breakstorms cover a large area and infinitely spawn hordes of nightmare enemies that attack Frey on sight. While in a breakstorm, you won't be able to interact with certain objectives, so it's possible for them to interrupt you when they appear with bad timing. You'll need to decide if you want to escape the area or if you want to keep fighting until the storm passes over. However, some of these storms have giant boss nightmares that can drop high-tier crafting materials if you manage to take them down before the storm is over. The types of objectives you can do in the world range from visiting a specific location or completing a battle-related challenge for a single-time reward. You can visit towers that mark nearby locations on the map and allow for fast travel, which is impressively fast in this game. You can go from one side of the map to the other in roughly 2 seconds, which can significantly cut down travel time if you need to go back to a previously visited location. You can also visit a pilgrim's refuge to unlock another fast travel location, craft and upgrade your equipment, and you can safely use a bed to recover your health. You can also do this in the open world when using a campfire, but you are at risk of being attacked by enemies while you're outside. You can also head to places like villages, fortresses, small caves, and ruins to fulfill battle-related content that usually also have additional treasure chests that can be found nearby, containing materials using upgrading, or coins that can be traded for various rewards. You can travel to various photo spots around the world that unlock new photo mode options once enough photos have been taken. You can visit various monuments that give Frey permanent stat boosts, others that give you a chance to befriend Tantas familiars, and at other monuments Frey can take on various challenges like racing to a specific area or defeating waves of enemies within a specific time limit. There are also various treasure chests within the world. Some can be freely accessed, but others will have locks attached. In order to remove the locks, you need to complete a sliding puzzle with varying difficulty levels, and once they're opened, you'll receive materials or coins that can be traded for various rewards. You can also take on locked labyrinths, which are pretty much dungeons that have enemies and treasure chests inside. And at the end, there'll be a boss waiting for you that drops crafting materials, and you'll also receive an equipment reward upon completion. And you can also fight mutants, which are giant boss-like versions of enemies found in the open world. They can be much stronger and faster than similar enemies and deal a lot of damage if they can hit you. But if you manage to defeat them, you can receive material drops as rewards and easily access the treasure chest that they were protecting. Just like the parkour system, the combat in Forspoken is one of the strongest points of the game. It can take some getting used to, but eventually you'll naturally be able to quickly flick between the multiple spells and elements that you have at your disposal. Forspoken uses a magic-based elemental combat system, where you'll need to exploit enemy weaknesses and use spells that take advantage of enemy positioning so you can keep them under control. In the early game, you'll only be fighting a few enemies at a time, but eventually you'll end up in situations where you'll be fighting large amounts of enemies at once. So finding ways to completely destroy as many as possible at the same time was actually a lot of fun. Frey's magic is split into two categories and spread across various elements. Attack magic will be used for Frey's basic attacks and will change depending on the element being used. Some are focused on long-range attacks, but others are more effective at close range. Once unlocked, each element also has 3 different charge attacks that can be used by holding down the attack button and charging to the required level. Each element also has support magic that offers a wide range of buffs, debuffs, offensive magic, and crowd control. Support spells can be powerful, but it's usually more situational than the attack magic. Continuously attacking will also charge Frey's surge magic. Once it's fully charged, you can unleash a powerful spell that can deal large amounts of damage in a wide area. New spells can be obtained by spending the mana that Frey gains after leveling up. After a spell has been unlocked, it's possible to upgrade them through the spellcraft challenges. At certain locations within the world, you can select up to 3 spells at a time and activate their challenges. Each challenge will have its own objective based on the spell that was selected, and if you complete a spell's challenge, it will enhance the spell in various ways and increase the power of the corresponding element. Just like her spells, Frey can also upgrade her equipment. With the crafting system, it's possible to use the materials found within the world or dropped from enemies to upgrade Frey's gear. Equipment is split into 3 categories: cloaks, necklaces, and nails. Cloaks and necklaces can be upgraded to increase their offensive and defensive capabilities, and they can also be customized to add various perks that fit your playstyle. Frey can also use new nail styles to gain additional enhancements. The perks on nails can't be customized, but you can have different styles on each hand to gain 2 sets of perks. If you're someone that likes point of interest or objective-based open world games with fast-paced combat-focused gameplay, then Forspoken is most likely a game that you'll enjoy. If you own a PlayStation 5, it's possible for you to try the Forspoken demo for yourself, so you can get a feel for the gameplay. So click the link in the description to find out more. Hopefully this video and the demo will give you a good idea of what to expect from the full game. I will be making some new videos very soon, but until I make those videos, here's another that you might find interesting.